know that that cool site Gravini has gone down and the people have disappeared? I know a bunch of us have looked for them and attempted all kinds of different things to try and buy the domains or the sites or whatever. I also know there's a lot of the on the very active American groups. They've tried to get a hold of the guys. I think they were from Czechoslovakia or Ukraine or Hungary, one of those weird countries. So I really don't know what happened, how they just disappeared because there's like literally no trace. And Gravini was a really, really awesome thing because you were able to do your boxes and stuff live on the actual box. It wasn't just settings that you would go and change, and we all got used to that. And it was pretty much one of the first videos that we did here on Protege Effect, and it helped a lot of us. But now that it's gone down, we've all suddenly don't know what to do. So Liana decided that she's going to bite the bullet, and she spent the last week or two studying a little bit extra on boxes.py. So she's going to show us some cool tricks, how to do basic boxes and stuff. And then as the weeks go by, we can always, or we probably will then start doing some more advanced boxes and things. I also did share a whole list on of other box makers and stuff on the group, but we're not going to talk about that tonight. I think boxes.py, if we get the handle of it, will be quite good. It is one of the harder. It's not one of the harder programs that when you go into it, there's settings all over and you don't know what button to push and you don't know. But as Leona will show us, she says it's quite simple. Myself and Carola don't personally use it because also when we go in there, we just see buttons and settings everywhere. So we're like, oh, okay, I'm not doing that video. And Carola was like, he's not doing the video either. So yeah, thanks, Leona. We'll hand over to you. And of course, guys, anytime during the thing, interrupt Leona, talk to her, don't let her carry on talking by herself. We're all here to learn. And if you know a better trick, I promise you, I won't take offense. Liana definitely won't take offense. The only reason that myself and Liana and Carlo are here is so that we can learn. We're not here to try and save the world or teach everybody else. We're here to learn as well. And that's the whole purpose of this project. Liana, all over to you.
Okay, thanks, Billy. Right, so boxes.py. Like Billy said, it is a very confusing, let me just share my screen, sorry. It's a very confusing user interface, and it looks quite overwhelming with all of the settings and stuff. So when you open it up, you basically have two options on the top there. You can look at the gallery, which is basically all the options with a photo, and then the menu giving you the same options, but the photo is just a little small blocky on the side there. So I prefer using the gallery. Just open that one. Okay. And we can start with a simple box. This very first one has limited settings, but for a reason. So if you really want to keep it simple and you don't want to be overwhelmed by any of the settings, go into that one. Then you can get an angled box, a based box, a bayonet box. You can do brick sorters and game consoles, and there's really some cool stuff in here. I'm not going to look at all of them. If you just scroll down a little bit, the sliding drawer box is a very nice one as well. The two-piece box, that one I use a lot, and then the universal box. This is the one with most settings for like a normal, not too complicated box. So I'll be working in the universal box settings most of the time, but let's just quickly have a look at the simple plain box that we have there. Right. So when you open any one of the box settings, you'll see that there's little arrows for all of the settings on the side. This one only has 4, which is quite nice because some of them really have a lot of different options. So settings for finger joints and settings for the lid, but they are both closed. You can open them by clicking on the arrow. but they are closed for a reason. So just leave them alone unless you want to go into more details on that one, just leave them alone. Same with settings for the lid, closed for a reason. So the only ones that you really need to change is the box settings and the default settings. Right, so box settings, you can go put in your dimensions, X, Y, H. Let's say we want to do a box of 80 millimeters by 100, and then the height must be 120. And then you can choose between outside dimensions and inside dimensions. So if you want something to fit exactly into this little boxy that you are making, then you will just untick the outside dimensions, and the exact dimensions measured on the inside of your box will be the values that you choose here. Or if you want them to be the outside of the box, you'll just tick that one. And then the 80, the 100, and the 120 will be the outside dimensions of your box. Right, then bottom edge, you can just use that drop-down menu, and there's a couple of options there. You don't want to use a straight edge because then it's literally going to give you a straight edge, and your box will not have a bottom. Stackable, that's a nice one if you're making a lot of little boxes that has to be stacked on top of each other. Then you have finger joint opposing side and finger joint holes. Now the finger joint holes is usually the default setting, but I like to use the finger joint opposing side. So that's just one that I always tick. Finger joint opposing side. You'll also see that these options all have letters. So F, H, S, E, and you can make yourself like a little note and just write down the letters of every option you choose so that you remember when you come back next time. Okay, so finger joint opposing side. That's all we want for the box settings. And then in the default settings, you can change the thickness of your material. So 3 mil, 6 mil, whatever you want, you can change the thickness there. The format, I leave as SVG. Tabs, I don't mess with. QR code, debug, that everything, you just leave it alone. The only thing that you really want to change there is the thickness of your material. And then you can just say generate. It opens up a new tab in your browser. And you can see there's the bottom of, oh no, I think that's the, let me just see why my labels aren't here. Okay, maybe this one does not have labels. Okay, so you have the top of your box, bottom of your box. That's the bottom part. And then you have the right side, the front side, the back side, the left side, or whatever. So there you have your box generated. Now, if you want to go into the settings, sometimes it's nice to have all of these little finger keys, and they're quite tight if you cut these boxes without messing with the curve settings and all of those. They fit together nice and tight, but I don't like having as much of those finger joints because it can really get long to cut all of them. So what I'll do then is just go to settings for finger joints, and then you will look at finger. You can change that to, let's say, a multiple of 4. It's always multiples of your thickness. So if you have 3 mil thickness and you say that your fingers must be 4 multiples of your thickness, then it means that you will have 12 millimeter fingers. So I like to keep the finger and the space in between the finger the same. So we change both of those to 4. And when you generate, you have the same box, but with a lot less finger joints. Right, why is everybody so quiet?
So basically, if you've got lots of small little fingers, you can double or triple your cutting time. literally. So if you've got a 100 by 100 mil box and you've got a lot of little fingers in because it's going up and down, up and down, up and down, you're basically cutting the same box almost 2 or 3 times. So yeah, it's a good thing to. I know some people like the look of the little fingers. I like to have a little finger on the top and a finger on the bottom, as few of them as possible, as long as it's structurally sound. If the box gets bigger, I might put one in the middle.
Yeah, but also not like 100 of those things. It just takes forever to cut, like Billy said. Okay, so that is basically the plain box. And there are some other settings here that you can go and play with. Let's look at, okay, let's leave the finger joint settings alone for now. Let's just go and look at the straight edge one that I said that you should not choose. Let me show you why. If we generate this one, you can see you have at the bottom a straight edge now, but you have left, front, back and right or whatever, but then there's no bottom because you chose the bottom edge to be straight. So that is something that will not work. Then we have the finger joint holes. If we look at that one, then again the bottom, but then you have holes instead of the finger joints on the side. So this one will be nice if you're going to put something heavy into the box, because then your bottom will not be able to just push out of those finger joints and fall out, because it will be held in place in these finger joint holes. Right, so that's another option. And then the last one was the stackable one.
Yeah, no, it's also cool when you got that little, what did you call it that you just did? Those little holes at the bottom? What's the name of it?
The finger holes, I think.
Yeah, so what I love about those, or with a little lip, is that when you're assembling the boxes, it makes your life so much easier because you can literally put a little elastic or something around and it holds everything in place.
Yeah.
You don't have to put little corners and other tricks to try and get your box square. Those little things actually help you to keep your box 100% square, and you can make the
Keep
box
everything in place.
where
Yeah.
there's no gaps or anything when you're gluing it.
I must admit, I use that option myself on basically all the boxes that I do. Even though I don't use this application, I draw them myself and I draw those options in. Just as you say, Billy, it makes it so much better to carry a little bit of weight, and it assists you in the assembly of the box. So that's almost the default by me.
Okay, so there we have the stackable one. Comes with the finger joint holes by default, but then you can see it has that little I don't know what to call that in and there at the bottom, so it will stack up nicely on top of each other if you do like multiple boxes. So maybe if you have a couple of boxes with different sized sticky notes, or different colored sticky notes or something like that, and you just have small boxes and you want to stack them on top of each other, you can go with a stackable. Yes, we're going to do the top now. So this is just very, very, very basic, simple box. Okay, so I'm going to go back to, let's do the finger joint holes. Right, so then we can go into settings for the lid. So now we are changing the top of the box. I'm just going to close the other tabs to make it a little bit less overwhelming. Okay, so settings for the lid, there's just a couple of them. And we can choose a handle, a long rounded handle, a trapezoid handle, a double rounded handle. This one is a new one. I haven't seen it before until I tried it out today, and it looks kind of nice. So I think that would be a nice one to use for a little fancy box. And then also the knob one. Okay, so those are the types of handles. Then we can choose the lid style. Should it be flat? Should it be a chest? Should it be over the top, or should it be on top? And you can really just play around with those settings and see what works for you, what doesn't, what do you want specifically. Right, so handle height. You can change the height of the handle and then also the height of the brim, and then the play. Now the play is when you are sliding the lid on. I normally leave the play settings alone because then you know your lid will fit nicely. If you're going to mess with those settings, it might be too loose or it might be too tight and you're not going to be able to close your box or whatever. So the play settings, I just don't play with those. Right. So let's choose a handle. Let's first choose style for the lid. Now, if we have a flat lid without any handle and we generate, so then you're going to have the lid top that's slightly bigger than the lid bottom. You're going to stick those two together, and for this one you will preferably need a handle, but we'll go and do the handles now. You have the bottom and then your four sides again. So this is just a lid that will fit. This lid bottom will fit exactly into the hole of your box, so it will fit nicely on top of the box. So that's one option, is to have a flat lid. Then we can also have a chest lid. Let's generate that one. Okay. This one has what do you call it? A living hinge, ne?
We call it the biasnijwerk hinges.
Yes, this might look fancy, but it also takes forever to cut. So yeah, biasnijwerk, definitely. This is also something that is nice in boxes.py because they don't really have full instructions on all of the boxes, but they do have labels on everything. So it's easy to see that, okay, fine, this is the lid on the right, this is the lid on the left, this is the lid top, and you can figure out how to put everything together. I must say they are constantly changing and upgrading and bettering their site. So some of these options have never been here. The labels are awesome. The all of the photos they have now are also nice because you can actually go and look at the photos and see how this thing is assembled. Whereas a couple of years ago, you really had to guess with what goes where, and then you finish your boxing and then you see, oh, I still have spare parts, and you have no idea where they go. So yeah. Okay, so this one will be a chest. It will look like a chest with the rounded lid on top. Okay, then over the top one, if we generate that one, is like the shoebox lid, and it will just fit. This is also a new setting. This is very cool because you usually have to make two boxes, one that's a little bit smaller, one that's a little bit bigger, with the height of the lid and the height of your box, and then put those two together. But now you have it as a built-in function. So like I said, boxes.py is constantly bettering everything they have on offer. Okay, so this one,
if you want the hack, and you can possibly ever remember this, if you want to make a little shoebox lid that fits on top and you're using 3 more wood, always add 7 both ways and it works perfectly. So 3 for the thickness, 3 for the thickness, half a mil on either side play, and then you know it's going to fit lacquer. So always add 7, and you can just make 2 boxies. You don't ever have to think about it. Just remember, add 7, and you're good.
I was just going to ask the same thing that Billy now said. Does it have an option to increase the play, or is it by default?
Yes, it does. It does have the play, but like I said earlier, leave the play alone if you don't know what you're doing.
So if it's on 0.1, is it literally 0.1, or have you made one of these?
No, I haven't. I haven't. Don't know.
What I found when making boxes with a shoebox lid, that if you go less than half a mil play, because we we're laser cutting. Most of the time we're gluing these things and we're putting them together by hand. We don't put them together 100% square. And then normally the shoebox slits then fit extremely tight. So when you've got that extra half a mil on either side play, and you put the box lacquer together with your elastics and stuff, you don't actually end up having that half mil. It actually ends up fitting.
Yeah, so over here you can see those are the four sides of your lid, and then the lid top, and then you have the bottom of your box and the four sides of your box, and there it's done, lid and everything. And yeah, just another thing that I forgot to mention earlier on, if you right click, if you've generated your box and you right click, you just go to save as, and then you can type in whatever you want to call your boxy, and you save it as an SVG, and then you just go import it into CorelDRAW or into Inkscape or whatever you are using. Okay. So that one is actually quite nice, the over the top lid or the shoebox one then. And then you can go and play with the handles. So if you just do a long rounded handle, and let's just change it to a flat top. Remember, that's the one with where you have the small blocky and then the big blocky stuck to that. So now it gives you a groove in both the lid bottom and the lid top. And then there's your handle, and you will push it through from the bottom so that those little tabs on the side there will keep it from pulling out if you pick up the lid. But there we have the, what shape did we choose? Long and rounded. Okay, so if we choose a trapezoid one, then you'll get that shape. Now it looks a little bit funny, but this usually happens when your dimensions are quite small. So if we make the box just a little bit bigger, let's do 150 by 150 by 120. Okay, let's just see how that looks now. There you go. So there's the trapezoid one. So if you see that something is not coming out quite right, like that funny looking trapezoid, then just know that the dimensions that you want to use is too small for the specific option. And if you change the dimensions, you'll get a better looking product. Okay, so you have your lid top, your lid bottom, and then your insert that you just push up from the bottom up. Okay, and then the fancy one is the long double rounded one. And it looks like that. And then you can also go and put in maybe like a contour or something in CorelDRAW, and you will actually have a handle that you can, with a hole in it that you can put your hand through. So
I was thinking the exact same thing. A contour will make that look so nice.
That looks very nice, yeah. Yeah, so that will give you a nice, a very nice looking handle. Sorry, Willie?
Put a little harkie or whatever you want for a nice handle, a blommetjie.
Yeah, yeah. And then the last one is the knob. And the knob will give you more of a 3D effect. So you can see that there's a cross instead of just a slit. And you'll have the little 3D knob on top of your box. So very cute, very easy. And it really just takes a couple of seconds to design a box like this. Okay, so basically we have gone through all of the settings on here. On the simple box, we can maybe look at different, let's just choose that one again, the long double rounded one, and generate it. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to change the handle height, let's say to 4, and generate that one so that we can see the difference. So there you have a flatter one, there you have a higher one, and you can really play around with the settings and just have fun with it. Okay, so that is the simple box. If we go back to the main menu, I just want to show you a couple of things. There's a pirate chest as well. Nice one to play with. Okay, so the sliding drawer box, also a very nice one. This will work well for like a chocolate slab, little gift box.
I just saw something because I was trying to follow Liana and I wasn't able to see the settings for the lid and stuff. There's actually two boxes.py websites. The one's an old version and it doesn't have all the goodies Liana's showing. So we need to make sure that we're going to the right one because I Googled boxes.py. It took me to one, boxes.boringplace.org, but it looks exactly the same, but it doesn't have the settings. Boxes.hackerspace. So that can be very confusing if we go to the wrong one. How are you doing it and I can't do it?
I've bookmarked this one like years ago, and yeah, so I didn't even know they was too interesting. Okay, so the sliding drawer box, you can see it's just an open top box or an open side box, and then a little likey that slides into it. And once again, finger joints and the grooved edge, those options are closed because you don't need them. You can use them, but you don't need them. And then you have your sliding drawer settings and your default settings. Okay, so you are going to put in the size of the drawer that you want. So let's leave it at 60, 130, like it's defaulted over here. And this will be the outside dimensions. Again, if you want it to be the inside dimensions, just untick that one. Okay, and then default settings. You have your 3mm material. You can also go to 6mm. You leave everything else alone. The labels, I usually untick the labels because it's just something that I need to take out when I import it into my CorelDRAW. But in the beginning, leave the labels ticked because it shows you which part goes where. And then later on, you can also just leave that out. A reference is another one that I haven't mentioned earlier, but that I like to just make 0. I will show you now what that one does. Okay, and then let's generate this one and see what we have. And there you have all of the labels, so you can easily see what goes where. Outbox wall, outbox wall, outbox wall, outbox bottom, outbox top. And then the inbox is then your little drawer, and you can also see it has the indent there. Yeah. Okay, so this 100 millimeters burn 0.1 millimeters. This is what that reference one does. So again, if you save this, right click, save as, and save it as an SVG, everything that you see on this page will be saved. So when you import this into CorelDRAW, you'll have another little blocky that you will have to just take out before you start cutting. So instead of that, instead of 100, I do reference 0. And when you generate it, then it takes that blocky away. Okay. So that is a nice one, like I said, for like slabs or anything else that you want to put in a little more neat gift box. That's a nice option. Okay. Settings for finger joints. Again, you can go and play with the finger joints. I'm not going to go through that one again. Let's look at settings for a grooved edge. So this, just close up the others. Now we have an arc angle, which is the angle of arc cuts. We have a gap between grooves. We have interleave, inverse, margin style, triangle. And if you have time and you want to go and play with these, you can have a look at that style arc, flat triangle, soft arc. Okay. Like I said, this is only an intro, so I'm not going to go into all of the complicated settings tonight. So I'm just showing you, but you leave them alone. You input your dimensions for the drawer. You change your default settings to whatever material you want. You generate, and you're done. Okay, so that's a nice one. The two-piece one is also a very nice one. I like to use that one. It's just because it's nice and neat, and when you put the lid over the top, it fits together nicely. And on the two-piece box, you can actually, yes, you can see you have your X, Y, H, and then you also have an inner height. So I like to make the inside height of the box a little bit lower so that it doesn't go up all the way to the top. But this works nicely for, what did I want to say now? For those postpieces that you make for weddings, where they can go put in all the gifts and stuff. So this works great because most people cannot figure out how to open these boxes.
It's an envelope box.
Yes, the envelope box. So you tell the bride how it works, but then people will pick up that box and they will not be able to figure out how it opens up. It's really not that complicated, but for some other reason, they never know how to open up these things. So this one is one that I use for those envelope boxes a lot. Thanks, was that Anne-Marie? Okay. And then universal box. And this is, I'm just quickly going to show you what's going on here, and then I'm going to stop because I don't want to give you an information overload tonight. As you can see, for the simple box, we had 4 possible setting options, and for universal box, we have like a lot, and this is really a lot. So just scroll down. You're going to do your universal box settings and your default settings, and the rest of them is just if you want to customize the box further inside boxes.py. You can also just customize it in CorelDRAW as well. But here we have a lot of options for the top edge. So bottom edge, we're going to do finger joint holes. Top edge is straight edge for now. I'm going to work with those dimensions, 3mm material. Got to take my reference off. I'm going to generate it. And then you have bottom, back, right, front, and left. Simple, just open top box, no lid. So when we go into the top edge settings now, you can see that there's a lot. So we have straight edge, that's the open top one. Then we have a finger joint one. This one will just generate a box that looks like this. So it's basically going to be, just see there's the sides, the bottom, and then the top.
That's quite a nifty box with a flat open top and keeping it together. That's quite neat.
Yeah. So there's that one. Okay, top edge. Then you can do finger joints on opposing sides. I think this will just give you, no, is that the one that I just did? Right? Straight edge, finger joint opposing side. Okay. Then the edge one. Yeah, this is the one I was thinking about. This will just give you, it's going to look the same on the top and the bottom. It's a closed box that you will not be able to open up. And
that when you got there, you can, if you just put a cut line in the top, it will also be quite a sturdy box. You can just cut it open and have an opening at the top.
Yeah. Okay, so then you have a click on, which looks like this. And it gives you little, I think Billy also uses these little snap-on, click-on type of joints.
Yeah, but these
Billy?
ones are going to give me OCD.
Yeah, no, I know they look a bit, yeah. They're not one that I use a lot, but yeah. They break, but you can sommer see they will break even before you take them out of the laser. Okay, so a lot of options here, but ones that I actually like to work with is the straight edge with hinge eye. Let me show you that one. This will give you a box with a hinged lid, and there you have your little hinges on the right and the left, and then your top will fit in there nicely. So that is one way of doing the hinges. And you can also then, that one will have a single lid. If you do the straight edge with hinge eye on both ends, then you get this one and you have basically a double door. So it will have, the lid will be in two parts. Okay, I'm not sure why it needs to be zigzag there, but this is what
I think it just makes it easier to grab hold of it and to open it up.
I think it's when you
That
close
makes
it, it's like
sense.
the little thingies, when you close it, then it's like gripping place that it can go like a fuss. I don't know, my English is finished, guys. And I'm English, by the way. But yeah, it makes it like a fuss when you close it.
But shouldn't they be then over there? Like not on the sides, but next to each other, if it's going to make it like a fuss.
I think it wedges into the top and the bottom panel. It wedges. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I just usually make them straight. I don't like that zigzag.
They are never that heavy that you can't
thingy.
keep them open.
Yeah. So that then there's a edge with cabinet hinges for a 90-degree lid. This one I like using as well. It's the little Susati Stocky one that we spoke about on the group earlier this week. So you cut out all of these little hinges. 3 goes in one way and 2 goes in the other way. And then you just stick a Susati Stocky through there and it fits in perfectly. And then you have a little hinged. Let me just see. Yeah, it's going to look like this, basically. This one is one with 3 hinges. That one just has 5, but a very neat little hinge.
And that Susati Stocky, does it stay there while you open and close? Does it not move out?
Yes, it does. You have to put it in, cut it down to the exact size. I stick my Susati Stockies together using masking tape, and then I cut it in the laser to
That's how you do it.
To have it to have the exact length that I need. And then let me just show you. Yeah, so I measure that length there and it fits in there in that little gap. So basically when you have put when you put the box together, the Susati Stocky has nowhere to go. It's stuck in there. So it's really a neat little trick.
That's the trick of the trade. That's what you call the trick of the trade.
Yeah, because normally you've got glue and whatnot. When you open the thing, the Susati Stocky falls out or whatever, or you. Yeah, that's super cool. I never ever thought of that.
Let me just tell you, it's a pain to get it in there. It's a bit of a learning curve to get these hinges quite right, but yeah, they do work very well. I once thought that maybe perspex will be a brilliant idea for the hinge itself. Don't ever do that. Just keep it wood. When you tap that perspex hinge, it just shatters. So it's a mess. Don't ever go there. Okay. So that is the hinges. And then let me just see. There is a slide on lid one. Let's see if it has changed, but I don't like using this one. Yeah. It also has these little like click in kind of thingies that, but once you close this box, it's impossible to get it open again without breaking it. It just does not make sense to me. I have cut it in the past. I will never do it again unless they change something, but don't believe them when they say it's a sliding lid. It's not a sliding lid. It's a stuck like hell lid. Okay, then then we have the triangle for a handle. This one I like as well. Why did you not do that? Triangle. Okay, let's try again. Sorry. There. Let me just check my dimensions. Why? Okay, let's just try different dimensions. Maybe that's the problem. Generate. Okay. Bottom, and this is why I don't want to use big dimensions for tonight, because then you can see the bottom is filling my whole screen. There's the back, there's the front, and then you have, these are for like little beer caddies or whatever, and you have the left side and you have the right side. Okay, but now this is obviously not going to work. You want the triangle side to be on the smaller side, so then you just go back to your settings and you're just going to change the dimensions of either the X or the Y, depends. Okay, no, that one still not working, so let's just, okay, so we're going to do 200 on X and we're going to do 100 on Y. Yes, there you go. Something like this. And then you can also go and put in like a tray insert into this, and then you'll have a nice little caddy with the triangle handles on the side. Yeah, so again, there's a lot of options, but you can go and play around and yeah, just have fun. But this is boxes.py in a nutshell, and I think it is quite nifty. And yeah, I know it looks overwhelming, but it's so easy to use and it's such a handy tool, especially if you don't have the skills to go and draw a box from scratch.
I must say the nicest thing that I've just seen was the fact that you don't need to change and adjust everything, because like Billy said earlier, I open this thing up and I see all these settings and I look at it and I close it. But it's actually not as overwhelming, and you can get by with just making just a few changes. So it's really not that bad. Thanks a lot.
The best thing is don't even look at the others. Pick the ones that Leona showed us and you kind of know and bookmark it. And every time you make your boxes, you're going to the same one every time, and then you can start getting used to those settings. Because if you start playing with all these different boxes, I promise you're gonna end up spending a week and you're not gonna get any work done because this more. We saw gearboxes and we saw all kinds of funny things, and before you know it, it's 4 or 5 hours and we were sitting and talking and what happened to the time?
We went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, definitely. We have about 15 minutes left. So is there any box that you'd like to make that I did not show tonight? We've done hinges, we've done the shoebox lid. Anything that you want to see specifically that I can quickly show you? Then you don't have to go down the rabbit hole yourself.
Did we see curve settings anywhere? I wasn't focusing like that.
What settings?
Curve settings.
So thickness of the laser cut.
Oh, curve setting. Sorry.
Not everybody does their curve settings when they do their cutting
Yeah.
to laser. Not all programs allow you that curve setting when you send it to the laser. So you
Isn't
you
it
have to
this
do it.
one? Isn't it this one down here, Billy? The burn, where you
don't
change
know.
the burn. The burn correction in millimeters, bigger values for a tighter fit. And I think if I go to the info on that one, it's going to take me to
That is
curve.
that.
Yes,
they
it's
call it
curve.
burn. Yeah.
Yeah, the burn correction, aka curve, is the distance the laser has to keep from the edge of the parts. Yes. Yeah, so you can actually go and change that.
It just doesn't matter of interest. If you got a curve for bigger than 0.0 or 0.1 or anything like that, align your laser, clean your lens, do whatever, because then it's not right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the main menu. Is there a place where we can buy them a cup of coffee or something?
Billy, you won't believe me. I was just looking for the same thing. I honestly think if we can somehow join and support them and make sure the same thing doesn't happen as what happened with Gravini, was that the name?
Yeah.
I would really encourage that, and I'm going to look for that as well, because you never know the amount of work that goes into this and how it helps us so much. There's the page that I just got onto now, Liana, as well. I think
So you can become a member, and then I guess you can they don't have like a fixed amount, but I mean if you're making you put $50 a month, it's not gonna kill you or anything like that. How these things usually work with this open source things is that most people join up, and then it's a whole bunch of different people writing the code and stuff. But if you're not going to be writing code and stuff, then you can still support the project by giving some financial assistance. And it's the money. I can promise you guys that the money doesn't go to that guy buying a new Ferrari and stuff. They put that money straight back into these systems, because all of these things cost money. I mean, just this domain to host this domain is going to cost a whole bunch of money. And if you look at all the programming and stuff in here, I mean, this is thousands and thousands and thousands of rands of development if you had to go and buy a program like this.
And they give this to us for free to use. So, yes, I'm definitely going to look into that and see how I can support this. And I'll definitely going to be using it. Now that I look at it, I'm dumbstruck that why didn't I go back to this earlier? And because it's amazing how they evolved from where they came from. And by the looks of it, it doesn't seem like they're going to slow down. It's just going to get better and better. And I would like them to keep going and use them. And I've just got to clicking around here to a RC plane sound machine, which obviously caught my attention. There's so much more to this website and to the people that develop this.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
So I hope you all feel a little bit less overwhelmed by all of the settings and stuff. It really is not that difficult. I know it looks terrible when you open it for the first time and you see all of those options. You're just like, whoa. But keep it simple, and it's actually so easy to use. Very, very useful tool.